What's up, everybody? Damon here with my good friend Jared Petty.
Hey, we're looking at Dodonpachi Resurrection.
Yep, we are both big enthusiasts of the bullet hell shooter.
Yep.
Developer Cave makes a bunch of good ones.
Indeed. Dodonpachi, their first bullet hell shooter for arcades back in the 90s, and then Dodonpachi, the Sega Saturn classic, and now another entry in that series available on Steam.
Yeah, this is Dodonpachi Resurrection. The game is several years old at this point, right? But
yeah,
it's now just come to Steam.
Yeah, it came to Japanese arcades in 2008. This was actually also available on Xbox, but now it's come to Steam. And this is exciting because this is a really solid classic-style bullet hell shooter.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't know bullet hell, well, Damon will give you a demonstration here. Damon, you're steering.
Yeah, I'm steering. I've played a bunch of the older Dodonpachi games, but I have not played this one very much. I've just done a couple trial runs before we started recording here.
So this was around Japanese arcades when I was living in Japan. This was actually new, and you'd see it there sometimes. See people playing at Japanese arcades. At the time I lived there from 2008 to 2011, still pretty populated. Still had crowds of people that would come in there and play, and this was one of the newer shooters that you'd see around every now and then. It's also available on mobile, of all things, and I've fooled with the mobile versions of some Cave shooters. They're pretty good, so something to recommend, but ultimately you want to play this on Steam if you can. This is the way to experience it with a proper controller. So Damon, you got some firepower.
Yeah, I like the firepower of this ship that I've selected here. We should mention there's a couple different firing modes. I'm tapping the button repeatedly, the fire button repeatedly now. You can also hold it down for this blast, which is more powerful, but it slows you down.
Yeah, so you move more slowly, and that's important because you see there are just a few projectiles coming your way. There's going to be a lot more in a minute. Now, this seems impossible, but it's not just pattern-based. It's not just memorization. The fact is your ship, for all its size, actually has a very small hitbox.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah. So like there are parts of your ship that these will go over. Yeah, they can be very merciful, and it looks like the simplest thing in the world, but there's actually a lot going on here because there's a big difference between completing a cave shooter and optimally completing a cave shooter. You can talk to that a little bit, Damon, right?
Well, yeah. I'm an enthusiast, but I'm not like a pro bullet hole player at all. This game is out of the manual or the automatic mode is set to auto bomb. So if I get hit by one of these bullets like that, it'll automatically set up one of my bombs.
Yep.
So it's like an extra life, basically.
Right, to preserve a life, use one of your bombs.
But a real player would never be caught using a bomb.
So what you do is you work your way through them. This is one kind of horizontal, or pardon me, one kind of vertical shooter. I really enjoy vertical and horizontal shooters. It's kind of a neglected genre of game now, but there's some real classics. The bullet hell style, which as you pointed out to me, Damon, once, is actually more literally translated apparently bullet heaven.
I think so. Yeah.
Is a style where you just have all kinds of things thrown at you, but there are ways to use enemy projectiles against them in a lot of these games, or use them to charge up and do different things. They often offer you a lot of different options with the ships. Oh, what do you got there?
I got her.
Ah, well done. And you got the gold stars coming in here now. But yeah, you experiment with them, you get better and better. We're just jumping in because this just became available. Yeah, so this
came out yesterday. It's on Steam now.
Yeah, and
obviously, as you can see, it does support 2 players. We decided just to play 1 player because the screen is actually really small.
Yeah,
and it gets very crowded. So
it does. I mean, you can play these games together, but it's one of those cases where, like a lot of brawlers, sometimes it's simpler to play by yourself, especially when you're learning how. I mean, look at what Damon's having to avoid there, and it's just gonna. You ain't seen nothing yet, folks.
Yeah,
he gets far enough along; it's just unreal.
Right.
But these, I really enjoy the shooter genre of game. They're very, very heavily skill-oriented, very creative. Even though you're just crawling toward the top of the screen dealing with threats, there's so many different ways and approaches and philosophies behind them. You can have kind of methodical shooters like the 1940X series, especially the early ones, or you can have kind of what are called single-screen shooters with Galaga. You can have bullet hell shooters. You can have those wonderful, engaging Hudson horizontal shooters like you had with things like Gates of Thunder and Lords of Thunder. There's just a proud, wonderful tradition. The Sega Saturn and the TurboGrafx 16 were kind of havens for these games. The Dreamcast had some good ones with Mars Matrix as well. And there are still modern iterations of these. Every now and then a new one will come along. There's some pretty wonderful stuff. Jamestown comes to mind.
Jamestown is a recent one.
Yeah. And like I said, every now and then our good friends at Cave give us something new to fool with. But despite the fact this is an 8-year-old game, I think it's going to be new for most of you, and it is ridiculously challenging and engaging. Again, there's a difference between making it and getting good at it, and that's the part that It's just this constant, almost like a racing game. You can finish the race, but you want to optimize. You want to get that perfect threshold of skill. You want to get through without a single bomb or with an optimized multiplier on your score, grabbing every gold star. And that's, there's endless room for iteration on that. Sometimes you hear them called shmups. Damon, what are some of the shmups you love?
Well, I love this whole, Dodonpachi series.
Yeah.
Old school, I love Gradius, Life Force.
Oh, yeah.
Those are, shooters. I don't know if you call them shmups.
Oh, those are shmups, totally. Yeah, those are just less bullet helly, but those are totally shmups.
Obviously, the very famous ones are Ikaruga,
Yep.
Silver Gun, both excellent. Before we were filming, we were also talking about Mars Matrix, another great one.
Oh, that's a wonderful game for the Dreamcast originally, right?
Well, an arcade game.
Yeah,
Came to Dreamcast.
That's right. Yeah, came to Dreamcast. And a single fire button. That was
another Gunbird. There are 2 Gunbirds that came to Dreamcast.
Yeah, Gunbird. Battle Garega is a good one. Darius is a good series. Seikyo Guruntai for the Sega Saturn. That's a superb shooter. 1943 Kai, which is kind of a more slower paced shooter, is a game I love. Can't go wrong with River Raid.
That's super old school.
Yeah, which is actually
2600.
a remarkably
Activision
entertaining game. Yeah. Yeah,
still very playable today, I think, for a 2600 game.
Absolutely very playable today. It seems simple at the beginning, but it gets really hard. And one of the earliest prominent video games to be designed by a woman, that game, River Raid for Activision. A wonderful game. Not the first, but one of the earlier ones. Superb game.
I just love the enemy design in the Dodonpachi games.
Oh, it's so.
Especially the older ones. I love I describe the graphics as chunky. I love the old chunky pixel graphics of their older shooters. From the 90s.
I think Dodonpachi nails that better than any of them.
So good.
Dodonpachi's the best. It's one of the best vertical shooters ever. And then some other good horizontal shooters. Again, I mentioned Gates of Thunder, Lords of Thunder, and then you have things like Thunder Force, that series. Especially, you have things like Thunder Force 5, I really like, Thunder Force 3. Some people like Lightning Force.
And another good one is, Jared, is Aero Blasters.
Oh, I do like Aero Blasters for the TurboGrafx 16. And Speaking of Aero Blasters, if you're watching this, you might enjoy our Holy Chip.
I mean, you're already here on the channel if you're watching this.
So just go watch it again, because we are less than 5,000 views away from being able to go from Aero Blasters to Air Zonk.
Another shooter.
Another shooter. We need 15,000 views to get there. Oh, I'm going to go home and play this so much this weekend.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is out now on Steam. Gotta put mine. Gotta put mine.
Yep. Absolutely. Also, go play Musha if you get a chance someplace. That game's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh,
Death Smiles.
Death Smiles is good. Yeah,
Death Smiles. He's a side-scrolling one.
UN Squadron for the
Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo. That's a fine shooter. Oh, there's so many good ones, man. Damn it! I love our jobs, but maybe we should go make a great shooter.
I know. I love that I get to play these bullet hell shooters with you.
Yeah, I love it too.
Cool. Thanks for tuning in. That's a quick look at Dodonpachi Resurrection, available now on Steam. Stay tuned for more GameScoop Plays.